Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible Equinety stories and how Equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to this week's Equinety Podcast. We're going to swing up into Arkansas. We've got Jane Chappell on the call this week. Jane, welcome to the Equinety Podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. And I came across one of your comments on one of the many Facebook ads that we have running all the time. And you've got two different horses here. What caught my eye, you've got a mare that was dealing with a lot of depression, and you started the product on her, and so you saw a complete demeanor change. But as we were doing our pre-call, you actually had started the product on a different horse. So we've got two different stories here. Let's talk about the first horse, which was the gelding. What was going on with this gelding prior to using the Equinety, and then what did you find after using the Equinety? So let's start there.
Well, he is a 9-year-old Rylander jumper, and he had bruised his coffin bone, and he needed to be on rest. The vet said that would be what it would take, about a year. And I came across your ad on Facebook, and I was reading all the comments that people made, and I thought, well, I'm going to try this, because he limped, even in walking. He got abscesses. So I started twice a day. Within 2 to 3 weeks, I started seeing noticeable changes in the way he carried himself. And then he got to where no more limping. He was running, playing, and he was a totally different horse than he was when he first came. And I thought, wow, looky here. Yeah. I found me some treasure.
Yeah. So how long has he now been on product?
He's going on his third month.
Third month, okay. So have you dealt with any other abscesses or anything along those times?
Nope, no, none whatsoever. Wow. And we've had a lot of mud.
Yeah.
A lot of mud.
Right. And how are he also had soft hooves, so how
Right. They're hard as nails, according to my farrier, and which I can push on it myself, because I asked him about it, because I kept feeling it when I would clean his feet, how soft the hooves were underneath. And he said, well, that's due to water and so much mud and all this, and plus he's got the abscess and blah, blah, blah. Well, now his hooves are hard, very hard. You can't push them in. They're just rock solid.
Yeah, growing a lot faster?
Oh, yeah. And the farrier said that his feet look better than he's ever seen them look since we've had him. And we've had him for a year.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most common things that we hear feedback-wise. If you want a good, healthy, strong, faster-growing hoof, the Equinety product, that's one of the many, many benefits that it helps. And the reason is, and we'll get into this as well with your mare, but the Equinety product is giving the horse what it needs to help heal itself from a cellular level. So the hormones that are released, the body's determining where to send those hormones. And in this case, with this gelding, the hooves needed a lot of help. And so that's what we're seeing here in about 3 months. Healthier, stronger, faster growing hooves. And, if you have a horse that's dealing with hoof issues, one of the great things with the Equinety product, because it's helping the hoof grow faster and healthier, it actually gives the farrier more to work with and a lot less time. So the healing process is a lot better. Now, one of the other things that you found out with this gelding when you first got him was a possible bruised coffin bone, although it was going to take a lot of money to really pinpoint that. But what you did see was the lameness and the limping. So now that he's been on product for about 3 months, what are you seeing now with his demeanor, his overall condition, and everything like that?
his personality has really come out. He was like, I don't know if you could say a horse is sad, but I mean, he just was there. You know, when we got him, he didn't have no personality or anything like that. Now, he's just like high-stepping it. He feels great. He runs. He doesn't limp. And he is just, his condition is so much better.
That's great.
And he seems happier.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. We hear this a lot. So, and speaking of not being so happy, you also had a mare that was pretty depressed. What was going on with her?
Well, she was like the big dog, okay? She was the one that was the alpha in the deal. But as he began to feel better, he became the alpha. And she started getting depressed and unhappy, and she would rock back and forth, something that I hadn't seen her do in 2 years. And so I thought, well, it seemed to have helped him mentally too, besides just his feet. So I started her on it. And I mean, it was 3 weeks, the horse was a totally different horse. No more rocking, no more depressed state, eating better, because before it would take her forever to eat half of what he eats. So she went from stealing his food to him stealing her food, and we'd have to sit out there, and I could see why, because it took her forever to eat it. And I'm like, gosh, she's so depressed, and she just was down, and so I started her on it, and she's a totally different horse now after 3 weeks of being on it once a day in the morning.
Wow.
And I couldn't be more pleased with that.
So her whole demeanor's changed. She's happier and...
Yes. She's a lot happier.
Yeah, all in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and she doesn't stand off from the hay anymore because she got where she wouldn't even go over there and eat. And it's just amazing.
Wow.
I was surprised. You know, I knew from reading what it would do for his hooves that I had no idea that it would help with the mental state of the horse either.
Sure.
Until I put her on there.
Yeah, and I think it's important for anybody that's tuning in for the first time. Maybe you're seeing this Equinety product across your news feed, or you've heard about it from a friend. You know, what exactly is this stuff? Because it seems to do a lot. Well, the Cliff Notes version of it, it's 100% pure amino acids. There's no fillers, no sugars, no starches, and there's no loading dose. Although I'll get into just a minute why it's beneficial to give twice a day in some cases. But otherwise, once a day, what the amino acids are specifically doing are stimulating the pituitary gland, which is the master gland in the body, roughly the same size, whether it be a big draft horse or a tiny mini. And what the pituitary gland does is release the hormones that help the body heal at a cellular level. So in this case, we're dealing with two different horses, a gelding and a mare, completely different ages, completely different things going on. With the one, you've got soft hooves, lameness issues, really no personality, just kind of there, dealing with abscesses. And then you've got the mare, depressed, not happy, will go into the senior range of being a 21-year-old. And so one product given to both of these horses, and it brings the individual personalities right out of them. Well, yeah,
right.
Yeah. And in your gelding, so it's helped with the lameness. The hooves are now healthy, strong, growing faster. You haven't had any abscesses. Now, by the way, this isn't a miracle supplement. I tell people all the time it's not a miracle supplement, but it sure does some miraculous things. Not to say that... an abscess couldn't come back. But one of the things that we have heard a lot of with an abscess when they're on the Equinety product, it just heals a lot faster. And this not only for abscesses, but anything in general. Because again, we're giving the body what it needs to help repair at a cellular level. So with your experience now being on the Equinety product, if there's anybody else tuning in, maybe hearing about it for the first time, maybe they're skeptical because... maybe they think, well, here we go again, another product that's supposedly can do all this stuff. What would you have to say to them to maybe give them what they need to try the product for themselves?
I would tell them, because I was skeptical at first too. And I mean, that's why it took me a while before I ordered my first container. If you don't believe it, your horse has to be worth the price of one container. That
Yeah.
one container.
Yeah.
That one container will show you what it will do. It made me a believer. And now mine will not be without it at all, period. And because I believe with everything that's in me, that this mare would still be down and out like she was had I not started her on it. And he's proven what it does. And he was a jumper, and he's fixing to start back into, warming back up, building those muscles back up. And I believe this stuff will help him in that area also, as he begins to get himself together. And, you have nothing to lose, period. One time. And after you do it that first time, you won't stop.
Yeah, that's right.
At all. You'll
Yeah.
keep going.
Getting back into the 1 scoop versus 2, I'll touch on that real quick. So the idea behind that is 1 scoop a day helps the pituitary release more of the hormones that are helping the body heal at a cellular level. Those hormones have a 23.5-hour life cycle. When you give a scoop in the morning and one in the evening, what it's doing is it's spiking that hormone levels twice a day. So the hormone levels are staying more elevated. So it helps with the healing process. So that's what you found in your gelding there by giving 2 a day. So if you're
Right.
if you've got
Right.
So if you've got a horse that's maybe dealing with an injury, coming back from an injury or a surgery, or in this case, you're looking at a performance horse, 2 scoops a day. We have a lot of people in the pro circuits that swear by 2 scoops a day. Where it's going to help the performance horses recovery, stamina, better focus, they haul better, just recover faster overall. So, that's absolutely great, Jane. We appreciate you taking the time to share your story here on the Equinety Podcast. Thank you so much.
Well, you're more than welcome, and thank you for your product.
You bet. All right. Appreciate it.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.